Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. In this video I want to take a look at the latest family of minis in Warcraft Rumble, the Cenarion family. All the seasonal minis that we have gotten over the past few months have been Cenarion minis, and Cenarion minis were introduced in force in July, and it also looks like the next mini is going to be another Cenarion mini. Yet Cenarion family actually looks like the weakest family to me, so what are the upsides of Cenarion family, what are the downsides, and what could be done to make the Cenarion family better? We have seen a teaser of the Season 9 seasonal mini, and, well, everyone pretty much is guessing that that would be Ysera, and probably would be a Cenarion leader. Cenarion is the only family that has only 2 leaders, every other family has either 3 or 4, so they kind of need another leader. But another leader is actually not what they need the most. Because looking at the good aspects of the Cenarion family, the leaders are actually one of the best things about the Cenarion family. I enjoy both of these leaders tremendously. Cenarius and Onu, they're pretty strong, they are really fun. Cenarion has those roots and then summoning those treants with the right talent and all that healing and then ability to death ball, and it's just a tremendously fun healer mini. And Onu, mobile summoning platform. I even did Black Phantom Deeps with something else than an unbound strategy recently thanks to Onu, just because I could get Onu past the choke point and then I could just summon all of my minis right there, and instead of fighting endlessly for the choke point on the first boss. So I do like both of these leaders a lot. I think leaders are one of the best aspects of the Cenarion family. The Cenarion family has also introduced a whole bunch of sort of fun and even powerful niche abilities. So abilities you don't put in all of your generic armies, but when the right moment comes, oh, I can actually use this mini. And I love it. I think it's great when there are minis that have these abilities that really emphasizes the puzzle aspect of Warcraft Rumble, so that you're trying to build all these different teams to overcome various challenges. There's obviously Ancient of War with Lightning Rod, so redirects enemy spell and unbound minis. Yeah, that's fun in PvE. It's also great, by the way, against Ragnars, for example. It's maybe even too dominant in PvP. I have heard that people don't really like that. Some people at least don't really like that in PvP. I don't play PvP that much myself. And there have been suggestions, for example, to split that in 2 so that it would redirect spells or it would redirect unbounds only. I mean, that would be fine by me because the other talents are not very good for Ancient of War. But regardless of its strength in PvP, it has fun use in PvE. Then there's Dryad's ability, make other minis fast, grant rapid movement speed to an ally. Still relatively unexplored, but I have used this a few times. I'm actually working on some general combatant things with Dryad. Looks very, very promising. General combatant is a really tough heroic, although I do have a pretty good solution for it, but there might be even better ones with Dryad, so I do like these, emphasizing the puzzle aspect of the game and solving those puzzles. And the Cenarion family has even a third mini with similar abilities with Fairy Dragon, ability to give resist to a mini. I have used this a lot in Gehennas, for example, in Molten Core, and a few other uses. It's not quite as powerful as Frostwolf Shaman giving armored, because Shaman is also a healer, and Fairy Dragon is not a healer, it just gives that resist and then it flies off and dies. But still giving that resist can be useful. Fairy Dragon has other niche abilities too, because it's immune to various slows and stuff. Again, General Colbatan maybe. But those uses are not as powerful because Fairy Dragon is super fragile, so it dies really easily. But still, really good selection of various niche abilities that can be used to solve different bosses. However, outside of these niche uses, Cenarion does not have a single troop that would just be always powerful. Like Bog Beast is probably the strongest Cenarion troop. It's just mediocre everywhere. Wherever you play it, you can sort of get by with playing Bog Beast, but you're never super happy about playing with it. And actually, I've now tested Cenarion in a bunch of heroics, and in every heroic, I just always find myself thinking, okay, I would actually rather play non-Cenarion minis, even in the Cenarion family slots, because the Cenarion minis just don't provide the answers, and they're just not good enough, and that's a terrible feeling. Obviously, there are always cases where a certain family does not have solutions, that doesn't have just the right answers. You can sometimes use something like a Dark Eye Miner or Defiance Bandits or something like that in one of the family slots. But in Cenarion, I often want to replace both of the minis, and that's a really bad sign. And one of the reasons for this is that this alternating mechanic that has been part of the Cenarion identity, that has really failed. There's two minis that use this in different ways. There's Earth and Moon. Earth and Moon swaps in your hand, so it can be either Starfall or it can be Entangling Roots. And that just doesn't work. It can be one of two spells that do completely different things, and you don't want that. We want your deck to have consistency. You want your minis to do things that you can rely on. And the other is Moonkin. Moonkin, when you put it on the board, well, it deals single target damage and then AoE, single target AoE, single target AoE, and that's just not good. I think this attempt with alternating mechanics is actually a failure. I mean, I'm fine that they gave it a try. Okay, that's totally fine, but it would be time to admit that it does not work. It reduces the consistency too much and it makes these minis almost unplayable. As an upside, this means that Cenarion family has two minis that could easily be reworked because no one would really be missing the current Moonkin or even the Earth and Moon. Earth and Moon does have one specific thing going for it, which is that Starfall with the talent is the highest damage individual spell in the game. But I would actually have a solution that would preserve that. So yeah, that would give some ways to fix the Cenarion family by using some of the existing minis that really are not important in the way they currently are. And another problem with the Cenarion family is that they are too expensive. Cenarion family doesn't have any cycle minis. The cheapest Cenarion troops cost 3 gold, Bog Beast and Fairy Dragon. You can play Ancient of War for 1 gold or for 2 gold, but only when you're almost out of gold, because it always uses all of your gold when you play it. And that means that if Cenarion cannot provide cycle for your deck, I mean it takes 2 slots if you use the family slots for Cenarion minis, then it would need to provide power. But it doesn't really provide you with power either, because the minis just, they're too niche. I mean, sometimes when you just happen to hit the right kind of battle, where one of those niche abilities is useful, then you might be able to use the Cenarion slots and it's all good. But the vast majority of time when you can't, then Cenarion can neither provide the power to win the map, nor the cycle that you should just be able to cycle through your deck and get to that power that wins the map. Luckily, fixing this wouldn't actually be that difficult. One of the things that could be done would be to add a new Cenarion mini. That would be a cycle mini. That would probably see a lot of play in Cenarion. Then touching Moonkin and Earth and Moon. I mean, Earth and Moon could easily be split into 2 minis. So the powerful and expensive Starfall, and then Entangling Roots, which could be even cheaper than it is currently. So all of these assets already exist in the game. Starfall exists in the game. Entangling Roots exists in the game. People who already have Earth and Moon could then get both of those new minis if it's split. I mean, splitting that would be fairly simple and would not require too much development. And then Moonkin. Moonkin was given armored, but it just hasn't made much of a difference. So either Moonkin would have to be buffed so that it's actually worth 4 gold, or it should be made cheaper so that it would fit in more often. Even at 3 gold, it doesn't necessarily have to be a cycle mini. And then remove that single target AoE cycle. Make it a single target mini or make it an AoE mini. Preferably AoE, I suppose. But that, when it tries to do both of those things, it just doesn't do either of those things. And that just does not work. Cenarion family could also be improved with some talent changes. Most of their talents are not useful. Typically, the minis only have 1 useful talent each, although that would have the downside that if players have invested in talents, and then you make some other talent the best talent, and then they're kind of in trouble trying to switch into that talent. So that would be a little bit more questionable, but a cycle mini, splitting Earth and Moon, making Moonkin either a more powerful 4 gold option or a bit of a cheaper, somewhat of a pyromancery option, and those would already help out the family and wouldn't take too many development resources either. But overall, I do hope that Blizzard will do something about Cenarion, because right now it looks like they're going to give us another leader for next season. That's the top speculation. That's been top speculation for weeks here. And yeah, that just doesn't help with the problems, because the leaders were already one of the good things about the Cenarion family. And the minis, the troops, are the ones that have issues. But hopefully Blizzard will look into this and fix this, and that would make Cenarion even more fun than it currently is. Thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and a special thanks to all of my Patreon supporters, YouTube members and Twitch subscribers who make all of these videos possible.